Hello, everybody. It is 11:15 a.m. Central Time on the 22nd of October 2020. It's Thursday here in the United States. Hope you're doing well. We are here to talk about seismic events yet again. And if you did not catch my update yesterday, you should probably go get up to speed and watch that and then come back and watch this. I'm going to save this over on YouTube so people can watch it back in a premiere, but let me just show you what's happened since yesterday. This is pretty interesting. I'm going to get all the smaller earthquakes out of there, and we're just going to look at everything like 3.8 and greater or 4.0 and greater. And to see what I'm about to show you, though, we have to back this out pretty much across the whole planet. Here's 24 hours worth of earthquakes. Do you notice anything? Well, if you're a new viewer, you might not see it, but this same size spread of activity going all the way across the northern hemisphere, particularly going from equal distance spacing from here at the Kuril Islands, 4.5, to here off the coast of Alaska, where we had our big earthquake, 7.5, and a bunch of swarm activity. But then, look at this, going out to the tip of the arrow, 4.6 out in Nunavut. That's North Canada, west of Greenland, and then a 4.6 to 4.7, striking here more rare in between our two X's, between the Azores and Iceland. So if you look at it this way, again, it's all the way across the northern hemisphere. Then we go the other way. We go across Siberia, Russia, north of Mongolia here. Also, north of Afghanistan at the tip of the arrow. Caspian Sea between the Black Sea and Caspian Sea. This is Caspian Sea on the east side here. And then South Europe. And then back out to the same spot. And the third way across, going from Central America out to our letter X this way, 4.6. So, look, it's the whole planet, guys. And then we go back to a day before that, and look at this. A spread of the same sized earthquakes, 5s, preferring to the south, all the way across the South Pacific, which I showed in yesterday's update. These two equidistantly spaced all the way across the South Pacific into South America. So now, in the last day and a half, going from Fiji down to our X here, down to our bend here, and back up, and going across the northern hemisphere, going from Kamchatka, across, over, and around. The whole planet has shifted on a 4 to 5.0 basis, at least from the Pacific, spreading out in all directions. Same with down towards New Zealand even, north of the Bay of Plenty and the Kermadec Islands. And at this point, let's just go ahead and get a display capture turned on so you can see what I see just a little bit better. Same sized activity spread over into the middle of the Solomon Islands, Solomon Sea, 4.7. And then Papua New Guinea was also hit, 5.1, 4.9. All the open areas that I talked about in yesterday's update were filled in with new earthquakes of somewhat significant size. So, for instance, let's just talk about this. Yesterday in my update, towards the end of the update, a 4.0 earthquake struck right here at Okinawa, USGS ignoring that earthquake. Even though it struck right next to the military installations, ignoring the quake. Like nobody, if you watch the USGS site, you just don't even know it happened. But we had 4.7s, like I showed a day and a half ago, over to the east, right? And I told you guys to watch Taiwan to Okinawa for the same sized activity. Near 5.0, well, look what happened this morning. Taiwan, in between Taiwan and Okinawa, a 4.7. And let's get the stats on that. USGS is reporting this earthquake. And why does that matter? Well, let's go over and show you the plate boundary. There, look. I mean, it's on this same trajectory, same magnitude, same size on both sides of the plate boundary. And I don't know how the professionals missed this over so many years. Now there's a middle point between all of our earthquakes that's open and quiet, and that's from, well, the most famous zone on the planet, the coast of Honshu down off the coast of Tokyo. Now, I said same-sized earthquakes going around the planet down to the south and over to the east, and same-sized earthquakes going around up to the north. Well, what about over to the west? Same thing, guys. Look, the highest I think we topped out was 4.7 to 4.8. That's like the magic number right now on both sides. 4.7, 4.7, 4.7, 4.8. Going out into Asia, we get over here and look, 4.7. That was from yesterday. Now, going over towards Europe, like I said, all the way out at the middle point between Iceland and the Azores, 4.6 and 4.7. That is not a coincidence. Oh, also, North Canada, 4.6. And I'm looking at everything 3.9 and greater, guys. So now let's take it down a step and go over and take a look one more time before we get into the United States. The West Pacific, this is pretty much the last 2 days worth of activity. It's a wide spread of all the same sized earthquakes going from New Zealand, 4.6, over towards Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea with 4.6 to 5. And then up to the north, same thing, spreading all the way across the area, which means we're about to see a big release when we get this large of an area that moves. All in the same size, all in a day's time, 1 day's time. 24 hours, this all just happened. How much energy do you think it would take to displace from New Zealand around, down, and over this way to South America, and from New Zealand around up to Japan, and all the way over to the Mideast and Europe? How much energy do you think that would take? It would take a huge amount of energy to displace 3/4 of the planet like that in a day's time. And it all points back to where our several deep earthquakes are raised, high off the globe here. And this is just the last 48 hours. We can go back to the start of the week and you can see how many there have been. And this is actually not all of them. USGS is ignoring several, like literally not reporting them. It's not that they didn't happen. That's a double negative, but they did occur. USGS is ignoring them. Now, before we get into the United States, just really quick, Central America, South America, look at the spread of the same sized earthquakes going across Central and South America, but it's all in the 4.4 basis. Do you see that? 4.4, 4.3 to 4.4, down to the south, 4.2, 4.1, 4.3. Add them together, it equals 4.4. So it's like 4.4, 4.4, 4.4 worth of energy across Central and South America, and it's seeking out those middle points again, the middle fulcrum points. So, for instance, I used this as an example this past week. The north border of Peru into South Ecuador, and 2 volcanoes erupting here, Sanjay and Reventador, both erupting. And then across Central America, it's pretty much down to El Salvador's coast. Right here, this is El Salvador. I mean, that's the border with Guatemala and El Salvador, and it too, 4.4. Now, continental United States. Let's just back up here a second because we had our 7.5 earthquake up here, up to the northwest, or 7.6 now upgraded to, on the plate boundary, north side of the Pacific Plate, up here, coast of Alaska. And when that occurred, of course, we look along the red line to go down into the United States, which is the plate boundary and the edge of the North American craton. Well, the buoys had gone into event mode across all of the Aleutians and going up and following this bend down to off the coast of Haida Gwaii. We had a flashing, blinking buoy with an event mode as of a day ago when that big earthquake struck up to the north. Now, at the same time that's going on, all that shifting going on across Vancouver Island, going down across Washington, Oregon, and Northern California, word has reached me that the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network is attempting to backtrack on the slow slip. And they're trying to say that there's no slow slip going on. At least that's what people are saying they're saying. And they're leaving comments on my pages trying to dissuade my viewers, trying to say that there is no slow slip going on. And I don't know if this is just trolling or if this is legit denial from the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. Now, why would they come out? Why would anybody come out and try and say there's no slow slip taking place when we have thousands and thousands of them and media articles being written on it? And now they're trying to say it's a mistake. Well, let me take you back in time. We've seen this happen before. We've seen slow slips take place, and we look for large earthquakes to accompany those slow slips. Well, the professionals say there's no relation between slow slips and large earthquakes. And what just happened? A big earthquake just hit up here, right on the north side, on the plate boundary, at a time where the plate's shifting. And so now it looks like the professionals are coming out. Again, this is comments being left below my videos. You can go see in last night's video, just scroll down, and you'll see the people saying this. And they're giving links to the PNSN blog where there's somebody saying that people, for some reason, think there's a slow slip going on when there's not. Now, why would they come back and try and deny it when there's been a whole bunch of articles written this past week about it? Well, the big earthquake hit. They came out and admitted a slow slip was happening. Then a big earthquake hits. Then they come back out and say there's no slow slip happening. We're mistaken, or whatever. That's, again, what people are trying to say. And I don't know what to respond on that because all I can do is go by what the tremors are. And let's just go back to a week and a half, go back to the 11th, 499, go back to here's the 11th, 614, Every day there's 6, 7, 800 going on, and that's way abnormal. Normally we see like 2 or 6. There's 6 to 10 a day or something. And we hear there's 500, 600, 700, 800. And they're going in one area as the plate is shifting across Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. And I did a search on this to see the news that was out this past week on the slow slip. And I don't know if somebody contacted Google and attempted to bury the info, but I'm just going to take you over there and show you, because you guys all did the searches with me on the ETS slow slip. Episodic tremor slip ETS for the last week. And what comes up is they scrub the internet. I'm not exaggerating here. Let's go search for the last week. All that comes up is me now, which is really funny because the news started covering this past week. And they even put out articles from News 1130 up in the Northwest. Here, maybe I need to look for the last month. I mean, here's one article that's coming up. They scrubbed the internet on this. I'm not joking. Here's one article on it from the 14th, October 14th, 2020 at 1:19 p.m. Somebody covered it. I don't know who these people are, but they covered it. Okay? You guys are welcome to come over and check it out. They covered this. Again, there's just a few people that covered this, and now they're trying to say it's not happening. But look who's coming up. Me. We're not searching Dutch Sense. We're just searching episodic tremor slip for the last month. Why would I only come up? Right? Now, here, let's look. 1130. Does it come up? It doesn't come up for the past month even. I can't believe it. They are really burying the News Talk 1130 story. Here it is. Look, here it comes up. Pacific Northwest records thousands of tiny... This is 4 days ago. Right before the earthquake hit. The big one up in Alaska. So here we are. Vancouver News 1130, whoever they are. New data shows Western Washington State and Vancouver Island might be ending their near-annual shuffle away from the mainland. This is, now listen, seismologist John Cassidy with Natural Resources of Canada, NR Canada, basically the USGS of Canada, notes Western Washington State has moved between 4 to 6 millimeters away from the mainland over the past week or so, with thousands of tiny tremor detected. Quote, because of that slow movement of the ocean plate, again, they're talking 4 to 6 millimeters moved this past week. That's the plate shifting physically. Vancouver Island, for example, is normally moving to the northeast, and it's normally moving towards Vancouver about a centimeter a year. But about every 14 months, Vancouver Island changes direction, and so does Washington, Oregon, and parts of Northern California for about 2 weeks. And instead of moving towards the northeast, moves towards the ocean. This change in direction is known as an episodic tremor and shift, ETS, or slip. What we see are these thousands and thousands of tiny tremors that we can record. There's ground shaking associated with these, a very, very minute amount of shaking that nobody feels, Cassidy says. Now listen. We find this very narrow band of tremors that happen at the same time that we're changing direction and moving back towards the ocean. It's quite a remarkable process, and the movements are very slight. It's a big area that's moving towards the ocean, end quote. These events are predictable and not a sign of an impending earthquake. It does not tell us that a big one is going to happen, but it's a really good reminder that this is an earthquake zone. Derp, der, and derk-a-der, because the big earthquake hit. And then what do? They come in and delete it and bury it. And I'm talking, you can't, look, this should come up when I search episodic tremor slip or episodic tremor ETS. Let's just get slip out of there. And we got to search it like that to get it. That means it's buried. So if it's buried, why are they burying it? Why are they trying to deny that there's a slow slip taking place now? Well, I think they're trying to deny it, or at least downplay it, because the big earthquake hit up on the north side. And this happened back in 2012. Vancouver Island shifted, and the north side up here hit with a 7.7 earthquake. Now Vancouver Island shifts, and the north side up here in Alaska shifts with a 7.6 earthquake. 2012, it was a 7.7 right here. And 2020, it's a 7.6 right here. Same thing going on. The plate is shifting. But they said in 2012, there was no relation between Vancouver shifting and the 7.7 that struck right next to it right after it got done shifting. No relation, they said. Now here we are again. It's getting a little weird to deny when you can see it. And when they previously said it just this past week. And now it's just wiped from the internet like it never happened. And statements from them trying to say that people just thought there was a slow slip going on. No, we didn't just think there was a slow slip going on. We don't need you to tell us to verify whether or not it is a slow slip or not. We don't need you, PNSN, to tell us. All we need are the tremors reported. We can all decide for ourselves. We don't need you to decide for us. And usually you're making the wrong decision from what I've seen. And ignoring the earthquakes that are striking at the time where the slow slip is taking place. So it's a double whammy on ignorance. Ignorance is bliss in their eyes. Now, let's get into the United States. Lower 48 since yesterday. Look at the spread. Notice anything? How about the Craton Edge? Look up to the northeast. Maine got hit right next to the supervolcano along the coast. Do you guys know about the supervolcano up at the Maine, southwest Maine coast? Do you need me to look it up for you and prove it? How about you guys go look it up? That's your assignment for today. If you want to learn something, go over and look up Southwest Maine supervolcano or volcanism, Southwest Maine. You'll find it right along the coast. It goes up into Canada, up into Quebec, and as far north as New Brunswick, up at the Maine-New Brunswick border, too. There's a caldera. There's several volcanoes up there in Maine, right along the edge of the North American Craton. But the earthquake's going up there is just a 1.8 right now. So it goes 4s on the west coast, down to 3s in the Midwest, over to 2s and 1s on the east coast. 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s. Plate's absorbing some of that energy, wouldn't you say? Going across the plate, following that Craton Edge. Now, a boatload of hotspots showed up in the Pacific Northwest. Hotspots bursting from the plate. I showed them in my update yesterday. I should be able to still find them today, though. Let's go over and see if they're still showing up. So let's go into the Pacific Northwest and go up into Canada. So here's Vancouver Island. Here's Washington State's border. And all last night, yesterday afternoon, a bunch of hotspots showing up across the whole island of Vancouver, on land, going down across the border, and down into Washington. You can't tell me it's farmers burning their field. Look. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Hopefully you will. But these little black dots here, showing up all over the place. Again, this is pine trees, okay? We're not talking about farmers in their fields. So no one can say farmers burning their fields. Plus, they're not going to be doing any kind of burning out there because of fire warnings and wind and what happened over the past few months with all the fires. And it goes down into the Olympic Peninsula, by the way, even into Washington State right along the coast. These hotspots are happening as the plate is shifting. We've seen them in the New Madrid seismic zone. We've seen them next to Yellowstone. We've seen them on the coast of the Pacific Northwest, and now we're seeing them even up into Canada, going as far north as Haida Gwaii. East of Haida Gwaii, right in here, next to the volcanoes, series of hotspots popping off again. Let me show them to you yesterday. So you might not be able to see them that great, but if you are following along on College of DuPage, you certainly can. If you're using your own computer or your own tablet or something, phones might not show it the best, but you should still be able to see it. So we've got flickering on and off black splotches below the snow and rain. And they're all over the place. It's next to a volcanic group here, east of Haida Gwaii. This is Haida Gwaii. East of Haida Gwaii, right here, volcanic group. And you can see it on Google Earth. You don't need me to come in and prove it to you, do you? I don't have to prove everything I show. You guys can do some research yourself, right? So here's Haida Gwaii. Here's the volcanic range. It's a whole series of them, a whole arm and Hogum Range, and it goes up to the north, but that's where the hotspots start, right next to it, next to the Hogum Range and Taysacks River. Cohen. Notice there's no earthquakes in the middle here, but there should be. This week there was a 4.0 earthquake at the start of the week, before this big one hit up in Alaska, right here in the middle, and the USGS didn't report it. While they did report a 4.1 over in the well, there it is, or 4.3. You can still see it, but you can't see the 4 that hit right here. Why? because they didn't report it. It fills in the middle point between our two areas. And they're trying to hide that there's a stepping stone path of 4s or 5s that connect between the areas. Just like they're trying to hide everything else that they were wrong on. I swear to you guys, they are doing something that I think criminals would normally do. You know, when you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar or something. That's what the professionals are doing right now, at least from the agencies, trying to deny that there's a relation between areas and so forth. And then going so far as to deliberately omit and hide and obfuscate, try to stop the research too, which is even scarier. Let's go turn on the last 24 hours. This is the last day's worth of earthquakes from the USGS now. 0.0 and greater. And we're also incorporating in the European feed. But let's just see what's happened in the full 24 hours. Like I said, Maine last night. Look on the West Coast, though. Let's start up here in the Northwest. We're going to go up into Washington State. And then we'll move our way down into Oregon. So Washington, we're back at Mount Rainier, and we're down at Mount St. Helens. And a lone earthquake in between the two, right next to where our hotspots are taking place. But this earthquake here, I mean, it's just a slam dunk. It's right below the crater of Mount Rainier. And I'll show you. We'll pull the coordinates and put them in. Search. Okay, and zooming in, there is the crater of Mount Rainier, and we are directly below it. We were below it yesterday, and we are below it today. But it's not going to below. We are just below it. So there's rising magma, which is then creating the earthquake activity up at the very top or up inside of the volcano. And the same thing is happening down at Mount St. Helens, 36 kilometers northeast of Amboy, Washington. And I like to show these. These are just small earthquakes, but it's proof that the volcanoes are being slightly perturbed. What can perturb a volcano? The plate shifting. Stress or tension in the plate. That's what can perturb a volcanic chamber. So we're right on the side or right below the crater itself. So 2 sets of quakes, both at volcanoes, one in between, next to the hotspots. The hotspots, I think, are bursts of heat as the plate is shifting. Now, can somebody see that? Maybe. There might actually be heat coming out of the ground visible. But I think it would be more like a few miles wide area, and then at the very center there might be a burst of sudden heat that's a few hundred degrees, several hundred degrees. What about this 2.2? What's going on? What? Oh, hold on now. Now just hold up a second, because we have another explosion reported out of Oregon at a time where the plate is shifting, going down to Salem. Now look, actually it's south of Salem. So where's Salem? Hold on. Here's Salem. And here's Eugene. Yesterday, we had a cluster of tremors here at Corvallis and here down to the south, north of Roseburg, on both sides of Eugene. Now we get another strange explosion out here. It's not credible. I mean, we can't keep thinking that these are explosions when the plate is shifting. Plus, there's fire warnings going in the area. Plus, there's hot spots going in the area. So let's just go see what's at the spot. Put the coordinates in for this explosion. Yeah, it's Bubba's brother. You know what Bubba's brother's name is? I forgot to tell you. Daryl. Daryl and his other brother Daryl and his other brother Daryl are all doing target practice out here with tannerite. And they're blowing things up. That's what it is. Oh, wait, hold on. What's this? We're at Bend, Oregon, but this is the Tumalo Volcanic Center is the inferred source of large volume Pleistocene ash flows, such as the Desert Spring Tuff, the Bend Pumice and the Tumalo Tuff, and the Shivelin Park Tuff. The area contains a large number of rhyolitic domes, such as Melvin Butte, and andesitic cinder cones, such as those at Triangle Hill area, which are compositionally similar to the Tumalo Tuff and Shivelin Park Tuff, respectively. That's from the Smithsonian. So in other words, we're on the side of a huge volcano. And look at this line of volcanoes that goes back up to Mount Bachelor. But we are on the side of this. It's pretty obvious. And what's this? Broken Top? Look at the cones on the side of Broken Top here. And again, that's marked from the Smithsonian. This goes back to the Ice Age Pleistocene. There's another one with a crater up on top. Look at that. teardrop pool at the top of South Sister Volcano. And then a line, like I said, coming off of Mount Bachelor. There's Mount Bachelor. Everybody knows about that up there. But most people don't know about the 40 or so other volcanoes that split off of this in a chain or line. You can see the craters on these. Some of them are younger and more pronounced, and others are older and covered in trees. But the craters speak for themselves. And there's 40 or more that just go in this line alone. And like I said, again, some are younger cinder craters, cinder cones, less covered in trees. And it just keeps going down to the east of it. There's another older line. This one's much older, but again, it's lined in trees, and you got the crater right there. Clack Volcanic Buttes. Anyway, right next to it, come on. An explosion, please. Please. By the way, is there anything there to explode? Let's see. Maybe there's a quarry there. Is there a quarry there? Nope. Oh, wait. Is there? There is a quarry there. But it's not listed as a quarry blast. Hold on. Now I'm really starting to get suspicious. Because we're on the edge of a volcanic lava flow. There's no doubt about that. And we've got a bunch of houses and stuff on one side. And we've got a quarry on the other. But it's not listed as a quarry blast. Just to prove that they can list something as a quarry blast. Maybe we should try to find one out here in the Mojave Desert or something. Well, they can list quarry blasts, so they're not listing it as a quarry blast. Yesterday, there was no quarry. So it's, again, this is getting weird. The plate is shifting. Over to the east, a 3.3 and a 3.0. Threes striking up in Idaho, up above the deepest part of the Yellowstone magma chamber, by the way. And Yellowstone Park closing because of COVID, right? But it is, again, now, come on. It is the winter. It's starting to get cold up there. And as soon as it starts to snow, guess what they shut down usually? They'll keep the park open. But to get there, you got to ride in like a snowmobile if there's snow. 50 miles from Jackson Hole. You got to take one of those bobcats or whatever they call them. I'm not exaggerating there. So they do shut down in the winter. But it's not a full shutdown like they're doing now. But again, it's COVID. I don't think they're shutting down the park because of any kind of eruption threat that people are talking about. I just don't think so. I think we'll have a warning of any kind of eruption. You got to remember, we had a 7.5 earthquake strike right next to Hebgen Lake, whatever. Right next to the park here, 7.5 in the 1950s. No eruption at Yellowstone. Big seismic activity there. Huge fracturing and bending and folding of the plate there. No eruption. Again, I don't think so. I think that, again, they're using COVID as the reason, and that's what it is. Not that they need to do that. I don't agree with that. But, I mean, that's their reason, and I believe that actual reason, that they're actually just going to try and cut out everybody from being able to go up there. Okay, so a line of earthquakes going across the edge of the craton, though, go right down to the park. Indisputable, it goes through Montana, dead ends at the park. Over on the West Coast, we already talked about Washington and Oregon. One lone blast out there. So weird. But the other two, these aren't blasts. These are at the volcanoes. So going down to Northern California, let's start up here. Pyramid Lake, actually over on the Nevada side of the border. Now the lake has started to move in. Yesterday, well, let's just show you where we were yesterday, because it shifted. Here is Pyramid Lake. And we're pretty much inside the lake. But yesterday, we were down here next to the giant oval shape. So the giant oval shape, I've told you several times now, I think is the caldera for an ancient supervolcano between Lake Tahoe and Pyramid Lake. There's a geothermal field on the south side called Steamboat Springs. The south side of the giant oval. Here it is, Steamboat Springs. But on the north side, we have an unexploited geothermal field that's on an Indian reservation. It's the Needles at Pyramid Lake. So that's just very interesting to see that there's a new swarm inside the lake, wouldn't you say? And I talked about this yesterday, that this, I think, is a supervolcano caldera, and I've talked about it for 4 or 5 years now. But it keeps getting hit, and now it's transferring. The energy is shifting, proving that there's some kind of magma chamber down below that's shifting. Now, over to the west, we have a 1.9 at a place. Look at the name. 1 kilometer southwest of Oroville, California, at 26.3 kilometer depth. So very deep down below Oroville. Does anybody remember what's at Oroville? There we are. Oroville, California. Wait, there's Lake Oroville. There's Oroville Dam. It broke apart a couple years ago, and they had to rebuild this whole thing. It's the tallest dam in North America, I think. And it overflowed. That was, again, last year or 2 years ago. 2 years ago. But a new earthquake right downstream in downtown Oroville. Down below downtown Oroville. What do I make of that, huh? Well, the rest of the plate is shifting. Water weight earthquakes. That actually plays into it. I think there's some faulting going on there. Guess what's right next to Oroville? Did you know what's right next to Oroville? Hold on, let me show you. Paradise, where the fires broke out. So the dam broke first, then the fires broke out. All in Butte County, no less, which is on the west side of our giant oval shape, what I think is a supervolcano. I think this is a supervolcano, and right here, we've got Paradise and Oroville. And it's moving. An earthquake just struck as I'm talking. Over at Geyserville, when did this hit? 1642 UTC. 4 minutes ago. Please. The chances of having an earthquake hit at a spot where I'm looking at within a 200-mile area is 1 in a million for the planet. There's 200 million square miles on the planet, and if I'm looking in an area that's 200 square miles, just do the math. How many times did 200 go into 200 million? 1 million times. A 1 in a million chance to get it down to an area 200 square miles across to have an earthquake hit when I'm talking about it. Dude. All right, let's go look it up. Let's go see what's here. The geysers. Geysers. I wonder what's at the geysers. Anybody know? Kids. There's geysers at the geysers. And I hate to call my adult viewers kids. Yeah, I'm talking to the kids, guys. I'm talking to the Zoomers here. Take out your ear pods. Get off your hoverboards. Stop eating your Tide Pods. What's with all the pod things? You got ear pods. You got Tide Pods. You know, you're living in a COVID pod. You know, it's just everybody's a... Okay, here we are. We are on the edge of Clear Lake Volcanic Field. And zooming in on it, there's geothermal drill points that are here. And the geothermal drill points go out down a few hundred to a few thousand feet into the volcanic field to get the steam, to turn the turbines. They inject sewage into this. Human sewage from your house. Goes down in the ground, steams off. The steam comes up, turns the turbine, leaves the nasties down in the ground. That's a real case of Joe versus the volcano. Okay, all right, let's go on down to the south, shall we? Follow this along the tectonic plates and U.S. faults. And we're on the Hayward Fault, go down through the Bay Area, and meets back up with the San Andreas. This thick red line that you see here, that's the San Andreas. We've talked about that so many times. Everybody's heard of it before, but San Andreas is fed off of the Juan de Fuca, where energy flows out of it and goes down to the south. Same with along the California-Nevada border. All comes from up here in the northwest. So the volcanoes are moving in the northwest. Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens. We got an explosion right next to an ancient volcano, and, well, next to a quarry, but it's not listed as a quarry blast. We have earthquakes above the deepest part of the magma chamber for Yellowstone, and a line of earthquakes going along the edge of the craton, down into Yellowstone. Magna, Utah, at the bunker facility at Thiokol, or formerly Thiokol, now ATK Orbital Systems. Their bunker facility hit. Drill points hit right here at the north tip of the valley, up in Utah, oil and gas drill points. Volcanoes hit in southwest Utah at the tip of the arrow. Do I need to show them to you? Let me just show you overall. I mean, I shouldn't need to prove this, but you guys can go look it up. Up here at the north tip, up here, The earthquake is striking somewhere right around in this north tip. I shouldn't just say somewhere. Let's go pull the coordinates. Kenilworth, Utah again. -2 kilometer depth. We're up at the surface. We're up inside of a mountain. We're up above sea level. There's the earthquake epicenter we're zooming in on. All right. Now you notice right here there's a road, and the road comes down and goes to these pads. And at the pads, we have oil wells. Oil and gas. You see the shadow of the jack of the pump and the tank and the pipeline. And they go down to other pads that are connected to other oil wells. So we're right next to an oil pumping operation, and it goes through the mountains here and picks up on the other side with more oil and gas. Okay, so oil and gas points drilled. Now down in southwest Utah, we're next to 2 sets of volcanoes. Let me just show it to you. Again, this is a huge volcanic field. I shouldn't even need to pull the coordinates on. There we are. Right down. Whoops, man. It's like taking forever. It's lagging. There we are. So we come down here to a very well-known place called the Markagunt Plateau. It's made up of dozens of old volcanoes, and these are lava flows that are marked in black. They're not forest fire areas. They go back up to Miller Knoll and Timbered Crater and Cooper Knoll and Blue Springs Mountain. Every one of these is very well known, and you guys can look them up if you need to find out more info, but it's a huge volcanic field, Markagunt Plateau, marked by the Smithsonian. And there's several that just aren't even marked here, like the Spattercone here. This doesn't even have a name typed to it. It's just the Markagunt Plateau. Just one of many that are across here. That's a Spattercone, that's a Spattercone, that's a Spattercone, this is a Spattercone. These are 4 of them. Over to the east, same thing. They just don't even have names on them. They might actually be named, but we don't have place marks for them. So let's just recap. Volcanic field here and here. Drill point here. Bunker Point, I shouldn't need to show that to you. You guys can go look that up, Magna, Utah. Yellowstone, going back over to the deepest part of the magma chamber for Yellowstone. Back over to an explosion next to an ancient volcano and a quarry. And then back up here, Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens. And the whole plate is shifting, which they're trying to deny now, which is very suspect because of the big earthquake that struck up in Alaska. They don't want anybody to think there's a relation between large earthquakes because they have printed it, they put it in writing. Oh, they put it in writing. Oh, this is the stupidest thing they could have ever done. Well, that's why I'm growing online, and I'm going to continue to grow as the discoverer of earthquake forecasting, and many of the other things they said were not possible. Let's carry on down to the east by southeast, shall we? So a 1.5 down here on the creeping section of the San Andreas at a place called Parkfield, a lone earthquake. Now, I have to remind everybody, there was a little cluster outbreak of earthquakes up here next to Monterey Bay. But now here down to the east-southeast, we have a 1.5. So in other words, we've gone from one location to the other. We transferred. We've gone down the San Andreas. We went from up here to down here. Wait. That's a low flyover. Who's flying over right now, dang it? Let's go look, huh? Hold on, let's go see. Flight radar. There we go. Let's go see. He's flying over the house. Don't worry, I've already been doxxed. Everybody already knows where I live, and if you don't, you can find out from the freaking trolls. Got armed security here, thank God. No, really, we do. Okay, so let's zoom in and see. Where are we? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, somebody just flew over right here. CPS, who are they? Beach aircraft. It's all hidden. Hidden info. Well, that's odd. Normally, it gives you the info. Okay. Well, that's who flew over. Going down, making a turn, coming back. You guys get the tail number on that. I'm sure you'll find... Sure, my investigative sleuth viewers are going to be like, oh, it's so-and-so from such and such. Here it is, don't you? From the Department of Defense flying over. Okay, All right, I hear anybody buzzing my house, man. I got to go look it up, guys. Come on. So over here along the California-Nevada border, no way. Okay. Look, another earthquake was just reported here. When did this get reported? 1630 UTC within the last 20 minutes. Another earthquake at a spot where I'm talking about just pops on the feet. 1 in a million chance. Now it's happened twice in the last 10 minutes. All right. So, clusters of earthquakes on both sides of the border, California and Nevada. Both sides of the border, including the new 2.4 that just struck here, are all associated with a supervolcano that's right here at the center of this whole hot mess. So let's go show you. And it's confirmed supervolcano. It's no speculation on it. 1,000 cubic kilometers of melt. The new 2.4 coming in just south of the supervolcano, right down here. And going up to the north, a line of earthquakes back over to the east into Nevada, over to this, Monte Cristo Hills Volcanic Center. Now you'll notice the earthquakes kind of, if you do connect the dots with them, make a ring around the border area. Right? So the whole supervolcanic complex and the areas tied to it, next to it, have started to shift. Now I'd like to point out something else about this area right here. Do you guys remember last year and the year before when we had all the earthquakes around this, the ring of laccoliths, going over to the west next to Mud Springs Volcanic Butte with its cool looking lava flows there and spatter cone and cinder cone, and Aurora Bodie Crater right here? So we haven't been there in a year and a half. It was going non-stop right through here. Now it's shifted. Ever since the 6.5 earthquake struck, it's all down here, focused around the supervolcano. The other areas stopped moving. Pretty much. I mean, there's now a 1.9 and a 0.9 up next to Aurora Bodie Crater. But that completes the circle or the ring around the area that's moving. But why? Why is it moving? Well, the supervolcano is moving for the same reason the supervolcano up here is moving. Same reason this volcano here is moving. Same reason these volcanoes are moving. And same reason we have an explosion and a shift. The plate is shifting. And it goes over to the edge of the craton and goes down through Utah, down through Texas, back up into Oklahoma and so forth, all the way over. So Southern California now, a line of earthquakes, and the area is increasing. So while the magnitudes are staying zeros, ones, and twos, it's actually increasing in size. And we add in a 3.2, which is the biggest of the whole bunch, but it's down in the southeast tip of the valley. Bodefish, California. Bodefish, 3.3. Since last night. Let's show you what's next to Bodefish. Bodfish, dude. Brah. Bodfish, brah. All right. There we are. So we are in the southeast tip of the valley, but we're right next to something. First of all, we had fires that were down here previously, but I want to zoom in and show you this. All of these. 3.3 earthquake next to tens of thousands of oil and gas drill points. This whole thing here is just one point of the oil patch. It goes up and keeps going through all these fields, and it goes over to the east and goes up to here to a place called Halfway House. How about that for a name in the middle of nowhere? And then the oil field goes down to the east by southeast and through the farm fields. More farmers' fields. I bet these are burning, but not from farmers. Flare-offs from oil and gas, I bet. And then down to the east by southeast we go through the fields, and we get down to the south tip of the valley where there's more. All the way down here. I don't know if you see them. Let me zoom in on them. Starting right here, for instance. Google Earth just froze, sorry. All these oil and gas pumping ops. So the whole valley, all the way around the tip of it, going back up to the north, drilled, and we get a new 3.3 earthquake right next to the most drill points, which is smack in the middle in between the volcano and the drill points. Drill points here, volcanoes here, earthquake, biggest of the bunch, in between. And don't forget, hotspots and fires taking place over the past several weeks. Now let's go down into LA. Because look, we have activity out in the ocean, out off the coast of North LA. Let's go see. We're 16 kilometers northwest of Malibu, California, off the coast of beautiful Malibu. Let's go see. There we are. So, off the coast of Malibu. Must not be very much nearby. Well, unfortunately, right along through here, up to the north now, we've got a boatload of pumping operations that come down across the valley of Ventura, go over to the east past Santa Paula, down to the east-southeast. I don't know how far south we go with them. I do know that they come over the hilltops here and go down this side of the mountain here with more tanks and pumps. And they do several at each spot. So like here's 3 jacks or pumps, 3 oil wells, or 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 on this hilltop alone. And they're all over the hillsides that way. Several pumps here. This one's got like 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 6 at this pad right here. 6 separate drill points. And it keeps going to the south. It just gets a little harder to see as we get down here into these fields, which look like orchards. But it just goes right through them. And the real question is where does it stop? And again, I'd have to come in and do a little research on that. But I mean, we're getting close enough, wouldn't you say? You're like right here on the north side of Somis, and that's where our last drill point that I can find is. But I'm willing to bet there's probably some more. Naval Air Station Point Mugu. Wait. Hold on. No way, man. No way. All right. Okay. You know, should I just go sign up for the military, guys? I'm a little old. I'm 44. You know what? I could probably show up a lot of those Zoomers. Go in there, some old guy comes running past you at basic training. Come on, guys. Don't be scared. Be prepared. There I go. They're like, damn, dude, is that guy old? Yeah, I time traveled a few times. Stopped aging. Okay, so here we are again. Oh yeah, that's going to be great. We're right next to an Air Force base. Look, there's just too many of these at this point. Let's go look this one up. Is this an explosion or something? Hold on. 2.4. Let's get the info. Europeans have it at 2.4 at a 14-kilometer depth. What does the USGS have it? 2.4 at a 14.4-kilometer depth. The east end of Santa Cruz Islands. Now, hold on. Isn't Santa Cruz Island a Navy test range of some kind? I thought it was. I thought they used it for bombing and testing of all kinds of new weapons. Oh, man. You can see where this is going. We got an Air Force base going. We got a naval area right on the east end of Santa Cruz Island. And they use this thing for some kind of target practice. I'm pretty sure about that. What do we got over here? What is this? What do we have going on over here? Well, a phased array radar. Wow. A phased array radar. Well, of course they're going to have a phased array radar out there. The phased array radar is going to be doing identification for the military. Now, it's not like weather radar that spins around, guys, with the ray going out. Phased array is like a grid that they use for identification of aircraft a lot of times. And other things. Cruise missiles and everything. Okay, let's go down to the east by southeast, shall we? Let's go look at this 1.4 at Yorba Linda. Let's get our fault zones turned on. Ah, there it is. Anaheim. What's the name of this? We have to go down and look at the fault zone map here. So right through the center here, I'll say it's, let's say it's the Santa Clara. What's the name of that? San Gabriel. Put the coordinates in. Yorba Linda. I do recall this from another spot that we had to talk about previously. Yeah, it sure is. Man, it's right next to it. So we're right next to our oil and gas pumping operation that I just happened to stumble upon when an earthquake swarm struck here a couple months ago. Like 2 months ago. And I zoomed in, and I found the wells, and slam dunk, that's what it is. Let's see if we can get a street level view on this. Can we see this? Oh, look, they drove right down the street. Let's see. Can we see into the oil pumping operation here? Nope. Just a dirt road. Oh, no, you can see the pipelines right here. Look at that. They got a pipeline coming out of the pumping operation there. Okay. Well, glad I checked. So, yeah, pipeline substation right there. Coming out of the old oil patch here. And can we see it from anywhere else? I don't know why I'm trying to do a street level view, but it matters. There's more than just one. Here's a road right here. Let's see. A lot of times they try to hide it. They'll literally try and hide it with mounds and hills. Yeah, look at this. You can't even see it. Yeah, you build the mound out of sight, out of mind. Ignorance is bliss, as the USGS says. Let's go over to the east by southeast. Leave Yorba Linda and take this line of earthquakes down all the way to Salton Sea and into Mexico. Salton Sea is the body of water here, and you'll notice a predominance of the earthquakes are staying to the west of Salton Sea. Let me show you what is to the west of Salton Sea. This is a regular thing west of Salton Sea. The San Jacinto Fault, right here, these thin red lines, and the thick red lines are the San Andreas. But the energy comes down the San Andreas, and instead of going around, unless it's a huge push, goes right across. Path of least resistance. Dead ends down here, south of Salton Sea, where there is a volcano at the south tip of Salton Sea. And let me show it to you. So all these earthquakes down at the southeast tip going down to Westmoreland, California. There we are. Here we are. Here's Salton Sea. Southeast tip, going down to Westmoreland. And zooming in on that. Wow, hold on. Hold on. Dang, dude. That was like right over my house. Got to go back to flight radar. This time it's a chopper. Now we got choppers flying over. First an airplane, then a chopper. Yeah, I must live in the city, I guess. Okay. Never mind living out in the country. That's an air traffic route. That must be what it is. Real low. Bring it on in over the house. Bring them in for a landing. Gonna land on the lake. All right. Let's wrap it up. We're at a volcano down here to the south, and then we go down south of the border. Guess what's there? A volcano. Down in Mexico, right across the border. Let me show it to you. So 2.7 coming in south of the border, right down here next to Cerro Prieto volcano. And Cerro Prieto has graffiti on the inside. Stone stack artwork, if you will. That's a rising phoenix out of the center of the crater. But next to it over here, geothermal, all geothermal, drilled just like what we were looking at up in California. So recapping, a line of earthquakes coming down to the south. There's only one more spot to talk about, and that's right here in the middle of the Mojave Desert. We have 3 sets of earthquakes, and look, 3.3. Why does that matter? Well, we already talked about a 3.2 to 3.3 up here to the north, up in the valley. So we get the same sized earthquake out here in the Mojave, Ludlow, California. This is right next to Pisgah Crater. Uh-oh, Ludlow. Let's go look it up. Lavic Lake, volcanic field, where Pisgah Crater and Amboy Crater are on just the east side of the volcanic field here. There's Pisgah Crater with its lava flows, and Amboy Crater. And this is the spot where the steam came out of the desert in middle of July 2011. On a clear day, not a cloud in the sky. You couldn't even see the steam. The steam was so widespread it just showed up on radar. Just moisture coming out of the desert. But no clouds, nothing. Just clear day, hot desert, and then that moisture blew. It was so concentrated. Picked up on radar, it blew all the way over to North LA. And it went on for 3 days straight out of the same spot on the ground. So here we are. We've got a new earthquake, the same size that struck up in the valley, and they're within the same day. They're within 24-hour time period. Okay. Anything else to talk about? One lone earthquake has struck on the creeping section, middle of the creeping section between our two previous earthquakes. Here and here were the two previous earthquakes. And now a new 2.2, a bigger of the bunch, struck in between them, now east-southeast of Monterey Bay. Over to the east, the pumping operations in Oklahoma got hit, right at the Kansas border, 3.1. That's about the same size that struck on the west coast, wouldn't you say? I mean, if we're dealing with 3.3 on the west coast and 3.1 in the middle of the plate, drill points in the middle of the plate. I shouldn't need to prove to you that there's something drilled at the middle of the plate. At Perry, Oklahoma, one of the most famous earthquake spots now on the continental United States plate, Laurentia, most famous now, got hit just thousands of times in the past few years as they did all this. So zooming in, you'll see I have a few marked as frac wells. But for every one that I marked, there's 100 more that they did. They're all over the place this way. Oil and gas drill points. Side by side, some dozens, some just a few. All over the place. And so tens of thousands of drill points across this area leads to a weak point. And as energy is going across the plate, in this case 3.0 range energy put into the plate, drops off threes all the way across. And in this case, it's reached over to Oklahoma. By the time it gets to the New Madrid seismic zone, it's taken a slight step down to twos. But then that takes me into the hot spots, which we need to go over and check right now. It's noon. It's clear here in the Midwest, finally, at least across Missouri. So it's finally a day where we can look in and see, are there any new hotspots taking place down on the New Madrid seismic zone across southern Missouri and Arkansas? I can tell you a new pocket developed down here in central Arkansas along the Mississippi River. That was yesterday. You can't see it anymore, but here we are right now, and it looks like we do have, hold on, look down here in Mississippi. A big fire down in Mississippi, and then it just goes away. 5-10 minutes, look. So within 1 hour, it's fully gone. And that's hundreds of acres. There's no way that a fire can just go for less than an hour, hundreds of acres in size. Oh boy, okay, so anything else going on? I don't see anything except for a spot in Tennessee and a spot down here in Mississippi that's really big, and then there's smaller little black spots that are appearing across Alabama. We can trace those back to power lines. Oh wait, hold on, last frame just updated. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across southern Missouri going into Arkansas. I need to get a smaller or a bigger view on this. Let's do that. Let's go into Arkansas first. Yeah, you can see it. Here, and here. And then right up here at the Missouri border. 4. They're appearing right now as I'm talking. You'll notice the spots have shifted, guys. So we were right in here. Now we're down in the southern tip of the New Madrid seismic zone. Now, a lot of people contacted me about Colorado. Let's just go take a look again right now. This is Colorado as it currently is existing. It's flaring back up again. This is overnight. This is last night. And then, boom, spreads across the area like an arrow pointing over to the east where it's really picking up again right now. Let's look at natural color fire view. And this is Colorado, North Colorado last night. Watch this. This is where the fire really blew up, and then the wind taking it like an arrow. And that's where we are now. You can see how intense that wind is. It's just pulling the plumes off the top of that huge fire and bringing them over to the east. That's directly on the edge of the Craton. People were asking me, hey, about the Colorado fires. They've been going for 2 months, but they're on the edge of the Craton. There's no disputing that either. The edge of the Craton comes right down through central Colorado. So the fire right here at central Colorado, and the Craton edge comes down right along the Continental Divide. And that's what we're talking about now, coming down the Continental Divide, and our fires are right along it. I don't think it's chance or coincidence, but I don't have any other evidence to show you on it. People are saying it looked like a lava flow. Yeah, but lava flows don't go up over mountaintops, guys. That is fire spreading extremely quickly. That is a huge spread. 200,000 or more acres. That is, the spot in question is just insane. Now, I would like to just quickly wrap this up. Go look on the West Coast. See if we have anything going on out on the West Coast when it comes to fires or hotspots. Anything out of the ordinary that we need to pay attention to. We still have our fires in California, of course. But I'm looking for anything else, like the hotspots up in Vancouver Island, for instance. That's just, you cannot ignore it. You get hotspots across the Northwest, up in the pine forests. There they are last night. The little black splotches. Okay, we'll wait and see today, but right now, as it stands, there's nothing showing up as of 10 a.m. West Coast time, 10:15 a.m. West Coast time, or 12:16 a.m. or 12:16 p.m. Midwest time. We have to look throughout the rest of the day today to find out. Let me take you back to where we started this whole broadcast, which is over in the West Pacific with all of our deep earthquakes. The deep earthquakes are the main player here. They are what is causing the seismic unrest to spread out around the rest of the planet, including the pushes that are happening in the Juan de Fuca and the slow slip. And that takes me back to where I started the broadcast with the equidistant spread earthquakes across whole regions of the planet, going all the way across and over, and again, all in that 4 point whatever range to 5 point whatever range. 4.6, I think, was the magic number, 4.6 to 4.7, going all the way down and around. So when you see that kind of movement going out around the entire plate and the whole planet, it lets you know something else is getting ready to happen. That we're going to see another release of some kind. That the 7.5 isn't all she wrote. And soon, we don't have to wait a long time. It's not like we're going to have to wait weeks or anything on this. What else has happened since starting this update? Aussies, we can always weigh in on you whether you're going to put your prawns on the bobby and get back off. Okay. Your Bogan Sense is here to report to you. 4.6, 3.6. Well, what's the difference? 4.6 came in 2 weeks ago. Right up here, right in the northwest side. Now we have a 3.6. Now, last time, when a 4.6 came in, you saw threes go all the way around the plate and at the center. So the center got hit with a 3-point-something. Southwest portion down near Perth got hit with a 3-point-something. Southeast down near Adelaide got hit with a 3-point-something. And northeast all the way up here in the middle of nowhere also got hit right out on the northeastmost point of the Craton in Australia. So center, southwest, southeast, northeast all moved after a 4.6 came rolling in. 3.6 comes rolling in. That's next to something. There's something here. Would you like to see what's there? Come along with me on another voyage of discovery, and this will just leave you scratching your heads as to what is at the location. Take a look. Come along. Look at this. Aussies. Guys. Look. Oh, wait, it froze. There. I seem to recall there's something here at the pinnacle tip of this peninsula. Zooming in. Is that the Dutch Sense logo? Is it? Oh, no. Wait, is that a Cairo? A PX? No, that's not that. Is that a hexagram, like some kind of Freemason thing or something? No. What is this? This is a giant VLF array located at Exmouth. And Exmouth is a well-known location for directed energy, but it's VLF. Very low frequency. Exmouth, Australia, VLF. The town of Exmouth was built at the same time as a communication station to provide support to the base to house the dependent families of U.S. Navy personnel. U.S. facility. The station provides low-frequency VLF radio transmissions to the United States Navy and Royal Australian Navy ships and submarines. Now, you have to understand how VLF works. That VLF is a very long, very low frequency, and the waves can penetrate into the crust, down through the oceans, and so forth. And so they can penetrate the oceans and communicate with subs at a distance using VLF antennas. And these are giant antennas, like 1,000 feet tall each or something, maybe even bigger. Or maybe smaller. But they're huge. They're huge antennas that are spaced out appropriately, and that hexagon shape is just making that grid shape that they're going to need to fill in a whole grid. Now, you could also talk about what a hexagram is. What was it originally used for by Solomon? You know, if you read the Hiram Abiff story, that's going to be a little bit freaky deaky for you to find out that Solomon used a symbol to command demons to build the temple, and that the stoneworkers of ancient old weren't humans at all. And that explains how they were able to build the pyramids and everything else. I don't know. That's just what the Masons say, guys. I ain't a Mason. Just telling you what they say. Go read it yourself. So we're at the VLF array with the hexagram. Okay. Perfect place to sign off. Let me tell you, do you have an earthquake plan? Do you know what to do when an earthquake strikes? Instead of running around and screaming earthquake like I see all these people doing in all these videos, you're supposed to take shelter underneath something. A table or a desk is preferable. Wood or metal, table or desk. Now that's not going to stop a collapsing structure. So you should also have a form or a way to get out of the house, an exit, or the building that you're in. And if you're going outside, you may need the appropriate gear to survive outside, whether it's summer or winter, hot or cold. Change of clothes, set of shoes, flashlight, and batteries. Okay, the basics you're going to need to have into a bag, guys. You're supposed to already have that stuff in your house, right? So like first aid and sanitation, you're supposed to have it. Well, put that into a bag. So that way you can go outside with it. Grab it at a moment's notice. If you're running out the door, you have the bag set by the door you're going out. That way, whether it's a flood or a fire evacuation, or if in severe weather, you're going to be going into an interior point in your house, you can still run and grab the emergency kit. That'll have the stuff in it that you need. Everything from basic identification to insurance. And why not? Why not just put it into a bag and have it ready to go? Can't hurt to have copies of that stuff. Anyways, it's a good idea. So why not? Just put it into a bag and have it ready to go. And you'll be way better off than most of the people who are all like, oh, yeah, I know to prepare. And then when it comes down to it and they have to run through their house, they're just like grabbing their wallet, their purse, and a pair of sunglasses or something. And this experiment was done down in Australia by the Australian Red Cross. They did this demonstration where they gave average people 2 minutes to get out of their house. It's not like an earthquake where you got to get out in like 30 seconds or something, but 2 minutes like a flood or a fire evacuation. And the people were running around their houses trying to find stuff. And they ended up grabbing things like their sunglasses and their purse, just things that you could already have your basics met into a bag. So you could say, I already got the extra set of keys and my ID and extra debit card and insurance in a backpack. So in that 2 minute time where you're running around, you grab the backpack immediately and then you run around and find stuff that really matters to you. Stuff that's you can't save normally, like your photo albums and stuff that people don't normally take the time to go grab because they're too busy going around trying to find the stuff they think that's super important, which it is important. It is important to have your ID. It is important to have an extra set of keys, change of clothes, set of shoes. But if you were given a choice between saving your old heirloom photo albums and your sunglasses, and the people down in Australia, when given 2 minutes to get out of their house at a moment's notice, were grabbing their sunglasses, that to me is just like, yeah, I know it's bright down in Australia, guys, but I mean... Okay, time now is 12:24 p.m. Central Time, and I'm going to sign off. Save this as a video, and we will come back if anything else goes down. And certainly this evening, you can probably expect an update from me in regards to the hotspots, depending on what happens. October Country in chat room. Just check this out, guys. Before everybody goes, listen to this. Just rewatched Volcano, the movie, for Tommy Lee Jones. And he plays Mike from St. Louis. Okay, and in the movie, they go to door frames to take shelter. Yeah, that was back before Mandela effect came through the universe, guys. Now they try to say that there is no door frame warning that they ever put out, and that we all just misunderstood that. And Mike from St. Louis, you want to talk about, that's weird. That part's weird, because I'm Mike from St. Louis. The chances of having that in the movie are just so weird. So freaky deaky. And on that note, now it is time for me to sign out of here. You guys can ponder that one. And you go watch the movie they made about me. They did make a movie about me in 2010, right when I first started on YouTube. Or right before it, well, as I was making text post. Yeah, they made a movie about me. Starring Lou Diamond Phillips playing Michael, who discovers that HAARP is creating tornadoes. And Michael gets rejected by everybody and mocked and ridiculed. And then he has to convince everybody that it's going on. And Michael consults his geologist friend. And it's great. In the movie, they use certain things about my life, like where I grew up. Claymont, my dad's house was in a place called Claymont. And they incorporate in the name Claymont into the start of the movie. Like where the scientist lives. And then my first house, my wife and I bought, was on Fairview Avenue. It's public record. When you search me up, you find my house purchase list. You know, that's what happens when you search somebody publicly. Anyway, on Fairview Avenue is where our house was, and guess what they worked into the movie? The tornado forms and goes and hits a gas station on Fairview Avenue. So they got Claymont, they got Fairview, they have Mike, who discovers that HAARP's creating tornadoes, working with his geologist friend and Rebecca. And then, at the end of the movie, Mike signs off. Lou Diamond Phillips plays me. Mike signs off by saying cheers. And they ding their glasses together and hold up a glass and say cheers. That's how I signed off all my videos for the longest time. The only thing missing from the movie is him saying directly much love. Anyway, you can go watch that movie. It's called Metal Tornado. Good luck finding it. It was like a sci-fi movie level quality, so it's not exactly action movie quality level. It's more like sci-fi TV show level, but still. Lou Diamond Dutch, come on. Excellent. Good stuff. I'll be back, guys. Peace out.